Hello, good morning. You are watching QTV this morning. I am Ibrahim Osuri Balde, wherever you're watching us. Welcome to this program, a program where we discuss a lot of issues. I mean, deal with things that are happening here and there. And of course, invite people that review the newspapers with us, the likes of Mr. Mboj, sometimes Mr. Malika, MS Marnyang. These are people that we invite so that we can go thoroughly through the newspapers, to bring out the news, which is very significant. And on the platform, I'm with Mr. Ade Drame as my co-host. Ade, how are you?
I'm thrilled to be here. I had a nice and relaxing Sunday. And yes, this morning program, welcome to all the viewers. News, views, reviews, and everything that you can use to enlighten and refresh your day. Welcome to the program.
Well, absolutely. I mean, it's important, for you to start your week, with something very positive. And I'm pretty sure by end of this program, we would be able to get something positive from the whole program. And Mr. Momodou Mboj is the newspaper review guest. Mr. Momodou Mboj, how are you?
I'm fine, thank you. Had a brilliant weekend. Went to bed early, woke up very early, so we're good to go.
Early to bed, early to rise. Make you healthy, wealthy, and strong.
And wise.
And wise as well. Absolutely.
It's supposed to rhyme.
Absolutely.
Strong doesn't rhyme with
It
rise.
makes you healthy, wealthy, and wise.
Some people do say something else.
Yes.
Early to bed, early to rise, makes you miss much to make you wise. So it depends, huh?
Absolutely, absolutely. So if you're just tuning in, this is QTV This Morning, and we'll be taking a look at the African code. From the code, then the newspaper review, and Mr. Momodou Mboj is our newspaper review guest, as I mentioned earlier, and a historical directory,
Historical.
Of the Gambia.
Okay,
Hasum Sisse's book. We'll take a look at it.
Yes,
the Gambia.
it's a new edition. It's been revamped and refreshed. And so a few more historical figures are there.
Added.
I was trying to see whether Ibrahim Balde was there, but I couldn't get hold of a
Well,
copy.
for it to be fair, I should be there, because at some point I'm contributing my quota to national development.
Your quota?
Yes.
Absolutely.
So I will ask Hasum, why am I not on that book?
But you might be there.
I might be there. Nobody knows. All right. So Hasum Sisse will be here. He's a historian and a writer.
Yes.
And we'll also take a look at the evaluation of Gambians from Lebanon.
Evacuation.
Yes, the evacuation rather.
Yes. We know that there are many Gambian citizens there, and we're hoping to be able to speak to the Honorary Vice Consul General of the Gambia in Lebanon. That's Jihad Eid. And hopefully we'll be able to get Jihad on the phone, because people are concerned. But they've given clear instructions for those who want to get out. Some don't, but for those who do, there are clear instructions. There are phone numbers, which we will read out on air, hopefully.
Exactly. So on that note, let's take a look at the code. And Mr. Ade Drame, the reason why we decided to put this code, there's a reason.
You will find out in a minute. Okay,
yes,
good. Okay.
There's a reason behind it. So you
family,
read it out.
It says family must look out for family. It says African proverb, but it sounds more like mafia to me. But anyway,
absolutely.
So why did you decide?
That's
why did you decide to put it, Mr. Balde?
Well, there's a reason behind this. I mean, when you look at it in our DNA today, I mean, it's crazy how families sometimes separate. At some point they don't even look out for each other. They don't even know what your family is up to. There's a reason why we live as family. There's a reason why we have that lineage as family. So once I and Mr. Ade, we are from the same family. We need to look out for each other. But now it's the other way around. I mean, families have dispersed, people have, separated. I mean, you don't even know what your relative is doing. You don't know what your family is. Family goes beyond than the one that you just said broad lined with. I mean, it's totally different. Family could be someone, I mean, that, I mean, means so much to you, someone that's, I mean, stand by your side when it's difficult. So I think family should look out, you know, for each other at some point.
Family must look out for family.
Yes.
Family is family.
That's it.
Okay? Friends are friends. You might have friends who are closer to you than your family, fine, but they're not family.
So what happened to the saying, you know, you are more than a family to me?
Yeah, well, that's more than a family, but family is still family.
Can there be a relation that is more than a family?
People say
Some
that
friendships,
sometimes.
possibly.
Friendship,
You
there
may
are some.
have certain friendships that are much stronger.
That's right.
than, you know,
I think
family.
That's the feeble family bond. I mean, they don't look out for each other.
No, it's not necessarily feeble. There are certain friends who you have a particular bond with them, and it can transcend family in the sense that there might be things that you share with them that you might not even share with a family member just because you trust them that much. I think if we investigate, probably many of us have had relationships like that with somebody who is as strong as or stronger in terms of you know, relation that we have with them, stronger than a family bond. It can happen, and there are families who don't speak to each other. You know,
Because
so
let's just be honest here. Family, that's the sort of relationship that I've not chosen.
this is it.
You find yourself in it.
In a family, you can choose friends.
Absolutely, yes.
As they say, you can choose your friends, but you can't choose your family.
At all, that's exactly it.
You know, yeah.
So this, I suppose, this proverb is looking at the positive bit. When things go right, you love members of your family, not because of their virtues, but in spite of their faults, and stuff like that. And one understands that, but again, one gets, you know, there's a phrase called sibling rivalry.
Well,
you have the other side as well.
Yeah, and also, I think it's very much an African thing. Yes, it's an African proverb. But if you went to the West, and, you know, my English friends that I work with won't mind me saying this, there are some of them who would tell me, I haven't spoken to my brother in months, weeks, maybe a year.
Yeah.
I remember one particular guy, John, who was my co-worker, and he told me something which absolutely shocked me, and I've mentioned it many times. We were sitting, and he was kind of agitated. I'm like, what's going on? He said, you know, my brother turned up at my house yesterday at 9 o'clock. I'm thinking, and? He said, I didn't let him in. I said, why? He didn't tell me he was coming. I said, if my brother turned up at 4 a.m., I would open the door.
That's it.
My brother doesn't have to tell me he's coming to my house. But that's the kind of thing, you know, the way we treasure family in Africa. And that's why, in a way, it's one of our problems, is that we hold family closer than the kind of wider society. And we feel more of an obligation and a responsibility for family, the whole extended family thing, in a way that it's an alien thing in many European countries. It really, in some you find it, in Italy, Portugal, Spain maybe, these Latin countries, they have one that's kind of similar to ours. But in many other countries, the family concept that we have, that you feel some sort of obligation because you have a blood connection to somebody, they just don't have that.
Well, I mean,
more individualistic.
Yes,
There are more individualistic societies,
Yeah.
you know, in contrast.
So I think most of the families, most are set up that way. I mean, when you are...
I mean, our families.
Yes, when you share maybe a broad line with somebody, that's your family. I mean, for us, we grew up, I mean, in a society whereby when you are all from the same compound, one family, you shouldn't leave each other. You shouldn't move out. Even when you look at our setup, even my setup at home, at some point, dad is there. You know, I am supposed to be the older brother. At some point, you know, I need to stay at home, you know, to look out for everybody. So that's the kind of setup we have, and this will be passed to my generation as well. So that's the type of setup.
And you've hit the nail on the head there. It's why when you go to Europe, you go to America, they have care homes and old people's homes where they kind of shunt their parents and grandparents, and where they might go and visit them once a month. But they never see them. And some of them, they'll tell you, my child has not seen the grandparent. We're both living in London, but they haven't seen them in 6 months. And you know, by here, they're living, as you say, we have this kind of thing. It's a very different setup. So for us, this probably rings truer than non-African.
Absolutely, yeah. Well, what we used to call the traditional family setup, the one that Balde is talking about, that seniores priores. You are the elder person, son, the elder child, therefore everybody, you look after them. But yes, but here again we are beginning to see the modern variation.
It's taking over gradually.
Well, I'm not sure whether it will take over, but we are seeing also happening. The other variation where families, well, the members are more individualistic. They see you once in a while. We know some cannot stand each other.
Quite.
We know people who can't stand each other. So these are all possible. Maybe what we can say, especially in the context of this proverb, is that learn to have patience for your family. In the end, it could be your sanctuary. These are people who will not judge as harshly as people who are not related to you.
Although
so people who have that, maybe people who have that shield, it can feel like a shield being in a family. It can shield you against all kinds of external shocks. I think they are much stronger. They are much more helpful to the individual than a relationship within a family where you're like cats and dogs. People in strong families, this is a very good shield, given sometimes the hostility of the outside world.
Absolutely.
No, I mean, I've always felt lucky that we have such a huge family. I have one aunt who has 10 children, another had 8, and we're very close. And we always kind of felt that we were this sort of gang against the rest of the world, you know, and I've always been grateful for that. But also, I think one of the strengths is that we've always been very honest with each other. So when I did something that they disapproved of, they spent no effort in telling me off that I had done something very, very wrong, and some of them didn't even speak to me for months. So, you know, and that's, I appreciated that, because they were holding me to the same high standards that we were holding everybody in the family, that you cannot, because we respect you, you can't do certain things and lose our respect and still expect us to act as if nothing had happened. So sometimes you have that, and it's good. I mean, I didn't resent it.
Automatically, there are certain setups that you don't even need to request for it. I mean, certain dues as you know, the elder of the family. You know, at some point, okay, for me, I am the first son of my family. You know, but at some point, I don't even need to respect to show. Okay, I need to be respected. So it comes down from one generation to another. This is what it does. But you too, you need to know where to stand for the younger ones as well. So it is reciprocal. I mean,
and it's tough because you have to set an example.
Yeah. So maybe that is what makes it work.
Yeah, go ahead.
It must be based on certain values.
Absolutely.
Really,
Absolutely.
just as you said, the respect you've got for each other.
Yeah.
So maybe these are the enabling conditions, if you can put it that can glue a family together and make them strong. Where you have maybe Ibrahim Balde, the elder, but he's unfair or stuff like that. Then you know that sooner or later there will be a breakdown. Some kid will come up and really say nasty things and that would So that's it. So it just depends. The enabling conditions. Yes, we have all variations of family relationships, but the preferable one, I suspect, is where you're together, you're stronger together. That's really how you can help, you know, that's family, how you can help one another in difficult times and, you know.
Absolutely. Interesting. I mean, family must look out for family.
Yes, indeed.
Like you said, it sounds like a mafia proverb,
sort of thing that
Don
Vito Corleone.
Corleone, when you go to the Italian mafia world.
All right, so we also saying hello to our uncle Balde in Lamen Mandinaring. He also follow this program a lot. I mean, he talked about your seats the other time. I was like, spectacles.
You remember you called them what?
The
Goggles?
Goggles.
Somebody called me from the States and said, "Hello, Mr. Goggles." He was watching. Mr. Balde, be careful.
Great.
All right, that's interesting.
And cousin Angela is watching in London as well.
Yes,
so
absolutely.
Hello to Angela.
Yeah.
And you know, the other day we were busy thanking everybody, and you know, I hope we will remember to thank the production team, camera crew, and so on. And the reason I say this is because tomorrow will be the 500th edition of this show.
Absolutely.
So
this episode is 499.
499. So before
499.
so that we don't forget.
Tomorrow will be 500.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
How come I didn't pay attention to that detail?
What? Really? You didn't?
I didn't. I changed it, but I didn't.
Yeah, okay.
That is why you have a co-host. What you miss, the co-host will get.
I didn't know.
Absolutely.
Yeah. All right. Well, so at this point, we'll take a short break. After the break, then we'll delve into the newspapers. So we'll be right back.
Introducing the all-new Q Mobile. Rediscover the essence of mobile communication with a device that brings you back to basics: quality, simplicity, and reliability. The Q Mobile is designed to fit seamlessly into your life, offering essential features without the fuss. 72-hour battery life, keeping you connected longer. Listen to news, prayers, or your favorite shows with the FM radio on Q Phone. A built-in torchlight, always ready when you need it, memory card slot for expandable storage, and dual SIM capability for flexibility and convenience. Why wait? Step into any of our care centers today and get your hands on the most affordable phone for just $600. Plus, enjoy a bonus package of 300 minutes talk time and 300 SMS spread over 3 months. Absolutely free. For more information, call our customer care on 111. QCell, soon your boss. We innovate, others follow. Terms and conditions apply.
We are back. You are watching QTV this morning. I am Ibrahim Masuri Balde, and Mr. Adidrame is co-hosting this program, and Mr. Mamadou Mbouch is our newspaper review guest. And now let's delve into the newspapers, Mr. Ade.
Yes, I'll ignore the one about the promulgation bill because I'm not sure what's in it. Justice Minister to table promulgation bill, probably for the draft constitution. I suspect. But,
absolutely, because the whole idea was that hopefully we'll have a referendum in December.
In December, which is around the corner.
Just around the corner.
Yeah, so maybe that's what it's about. Promulgation Bill 2024, PDOIS engages citizens and members in a nationwide tour. When Halifa Saleh did his press conference about a few weeks ago, he did mention that they will be going on a nationwide tour to engage the public about their concerns and so on. It was interesting to hear. But, you know, I remember saying at the time, I felt this is the sort of thing that if you are a national party, you should have your regional people who should be holding these sessions and finding out from the local. Because in all the regions, they all have different priorities that you know, right now URR, we just featured the other day, about the floods there. You know, that's the kind of thing that's kind of front and center of their thinking.
That's it. For me, the question I ask myself is that, okay, what effect do you want this to have?
Right.
In the end, what's the purpose? What do you hope that you will achieve by this? What is it that you're going to say that we've not said before?
Or that we've not heard
You know,
before.
we've not heard before. See, stuff like that. So I really do not know what's really what they want to achieve by doing this. How would it shift the dial? Would it move the needle? I do not know. What's the purpose? And even with him, wasn't it in 2022 he said that he was done with electoral politics?
Yes.
Now, what does that mean? To some of us, we thought that he wouldn't contest political office.
And even that he's not kind of rode back on, because when he was asked at the very press conference, he said, you know, I'm a Gambian citizen. If people came and approached me and asked me, I thought, oh no, don't go there, please. Not this, if people come and ask me nonsense. I mean, with all due respect, you know, we've heard it from Jawara, we've heard it from other people. I wanted to give up, people came and begged me. We've heard it from Museveni in Uganda. you know.
If you want to leave power, you need to
leave it.
Yeah.
You know, don't come with
before
people
you
ask
say
me
anything,
stuff.
before you say that you're going
please.
to leave, really think about it and mean it.
Yeah.
Yes? I haven't the slightest doubt that when, in 1980, was it, when President Senghor said he was going to leave, do you know how many people went to him and said, no, you can't do this, you are the father of the nation.
Okay, go ahead.
He had decided,
And
as a grown-up, he had thought about it and said, no, I'm done. I've done
my
it's
bit.
for other people to come.
And Juf
See?
came, you know.
But guys,
that's humble. To my mind, that's humble.
Let's take a look at this. You know, sometimes it's easily said than done. I mean, the force inside, I think, is far greater than the force outside. You might want to win. You might want to win the confidence of the general public by telling them publicly, "I am not like those people." You understand? But at some point, when you get inside, the force inside will force you to change all your decisions.
It's about respect. It's about respect. Because if you play with the public emotions, you know, when we all thought that he was standing down from elected office forever, all the tributes came out about what a wonderful servant he'd been and so on. Now we're having to swallow all of that. You know, if you go and say, oh, if people ask me, then, you know, he was kind of beating about the bush at the press conference. That question is a yes or no. Will you stand for elected office? No, I won't, or yes, I will. Not, I'm a Gambian, if people come and ask me and you know, there's a need for me to, like, you know what, dude, that's not the impression you gave. Like, seriously. Anyway.
And what you said, Balada, it's very true. Easier said than done.
Yeah.
Still doable. Some people do it. That is why greatness is really very rare. Because very few people can really do it. Greatness is very, very rare.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So shall we delve into more?
What about the PDOI's nationwide tour?
That's what we're discussing. That's what we're discussing, and we're saying, you know, what's the purpose of the tour?
What do you hope to achieve?
What do you want to achieve by it? What do you want to hear that we haven't heard before?
Exactly.
And are we going to hear anything new and different? You know, the problems that afflict us all are the same problems that afflict all of us, but then regionally, you have specific problems that people may want to bring up, and perhaps that's what will come out of it. You know, when they do a report on the tour, they'll say, oh, when we went to Central River region, these were the matters they raised above, you know, complaining about the prices in the shops and they also raised this thing that was specific to CRR. Or we go to URR, they raise a particular thing that was specific to them. So we might get those nuances in
and I hope something else. Some of the problems they raised, we've got the solutions, or we can suggest solutions. So you have to have these two together, really.
Because so KMC compliance director could not explain his job. I mean,
local commission.
I don't understand.
Local commission
is there no job description?
Well,
what happened?
It would appear not. And if we remember, there was an audit of the KMC, which said that lots of people had been appointed to positions that they were patently unqualified for. And this is the kind of thing, you know, that came up in that audit, that people were being put in jobs where they hadn't even been told what their duties were, but they were turning up, they were getting paid. And so you have here, if you have a job at that level, at a municipal council, there must have been an advert. There must have been a job description in the advert. Where is that description, job description? And it appears that this person, he might have, but, you know, come when he faced the commission, was unable to explain his job. I mean, as we keep saying, some of the revelations have been, they just tell you why things have gone awry across the country, because it's not unique to one council. We find same or worse in other councils, sadly.
Absolutely.
It speaks volumes.
You want a meritocratic, as it were, workforce, you know, but what do we get? Maybe it is in this sense that our proverb could not be a good thing. Family must look out for family. How many times do we talk about nepotism? You know, you've given a position to a member of your family. Not because the person is competent, but because you're doing each other favors. So yes, this is a huge problem.
Well, at some point you will hear people calling certain institutions as a family enterprise, the likes of the Gambia Ports Authority, allegedly. I mean, that it's a family enterprise sort of. I mean, you know, it's because the way the things are run, the system, sometimes is a problem. When you look at it, at some point, there is a lot of nepotism.
And maybe you're just picking on
What
you're just picking on one.
Yeah,
possibly what we're talking about here, it's more pervasive. It's more pervasive than just picking on one of them. We all know what we're talking about, but that will damage public institutions.
Well,
if I had my own private business, I can bring in all my family. That's nobody's business.
Yeah, quite true.
You know, we swim or sink together, as it were. But in a public institution, it cannot possibly be like that.
Yeah, and it's interesting because you related it back to the proverb. I mean, I can remember when people were complaining to me, saying, you know, my brother is a minister and he still hasn't found me a job.
See,
it's not his job. His job is not to find you a job.
Exactly.
If you see a job that you are suitably qualified for, damn well apply for it. You know, don't get your brother who's a minister putting you here when you're patently unqualified. But it happens, and we know it happens in many African countries. It's not unique to the Gambia,
at all.
Sadly. So yeah, so compliance officer, director rather, could not explain his job, and we are not surprised.
Ade, you know, nepotism started somewhere. I mean, Ade, your dad was a minister. And at some point at school, you were treated like a king.
Me.
Yes.
My dad would have hit.
That's not from me. Someone said I should ask you that question.
No, that's a fact. I mean, I can honestly say this. The way that our parents brought us up, that would be the last thing that they would want. That would be the last thing that... And I can tell you, one of the reasons why I was not treated like a king was because where I went to school was in an opposition stronghold. My father was in the ruling party. I went to school at CKC in Bo. In those days, the opposition would score 95, 96%. Everybody hated my guts because my father was a minister. So treated like a king, completely the opposite. Completely the opposite. I wish they had. I really wish they had.
And old school wasn't like that. Even in this country, when we were younger, even in this country, people whose parents had held high positions or had lots of money. The wider society, not necessarily so. Institutions, not necessarily so at all. It doesn't have to be.
It
doesn't have to be.
And at my school, I can tell you the day when it turned like the flick of a switch. We had our Thanksgiving Day. And because I was in the school, they invited my father to give the speech, the keynote speech. And when he finished, he got a standing ovation. I mean, they were ready to hate him, but he made jokes. My father was a good public speaker. He made jokes, he had them laughing, and he still managed to talk sense. And at the end, I was so proud. I've always been proud of my father, but I think that day was probably one
made you more.
Yes, you know, everybody just rose to their feet spontaneously, and people came and they were hugging me. Man, your father was brilliant. But honestly, that was the day when it they were ready to boo him if he'd been rubbish, really. So they weren't scared, or because he was a government, because we didn't have a kind of dictatorship. We had a very strong, at the time, you know, democracy. So they were
at some point, you know, you just need one person, I mean, to go to the opposition and talk to them, you know, man to man, at some point to change the whole situation.
Let's just have a healthy competition. That is really what democracy is about. All of us need not be singing from the same hymn sheet. It's not even possible. That is anti-democratic.
It's not even possible.
So the idea is, how do we disagree? Let's try to be productively disagreeable. As they say.
Absolutely. So let's take a look at the Independence Stadium. How can we forget about that big story? Not approved by, I mean, CAF. With all the works that have been done, all the energy and all the refurbishment, the renovation, you know, at some point, you know, I can remember I was at Q City with Momodu Gajaga and Amadou Tamba, you know, when we were going home in my car, we were like, they were so angry and mad that, I mean, they rejected our request to approve the Independence Stadium.
Yeah,
Very disappointing.
Well,
In
for some of
Bridgewater
us, it wasn't a matter of being mad, being angry.
Well, I've seen that
It doesn't
coming.
work like that. Why did
There
we
was
get
a
the
se-
clearance?
yeah,
I think
yeah.
that is really what's important. And our preparation. How come our confidence was so high? We were so optimistic that we were going to get it. You see?
And
Did we do our own mini, as it were,
kind of
a rehearsal of
kind
it out, ticking the boxes,
ticking the
as it
boxes.
were?
Is this correct? Is this correct? Is it
And
correct?
that sort of thing. What are the
And-
specifications?
And
So-
if Gajiga were here, he'll probably tell you that news had come through that the official had said to some people, and we discussed this on the week in review. He said to some people, "I'm very impressed by what I've seen," and so people took that as, "Oh, he's
That's
going to
it.
give us the all clear."
Oh,
I'm very impressed by what I've seen is not the same as I think you guys have done everything that needs to be done. That's very different. But from what he said, we then read more into it than what he said. He was a diplomat.
That's it.
He was being nice to us.
Exactly.
Yes. Because apparently everything else passed muster. They ticked apart from the pitch. The pitch is what let us down. Apparently the pitch was not up to the standard required for international matches.
well, so what is this telling us? I mean, the approval goes beyond what we see. I mean,
Which is why
infrastructure, maybe
in-
the painting,
Well, this
the
is it.
seats. It's different.
And
The
that's why
individual-
we said in our
that's it.
report, we said to the layman, the stadium looked ready.
Absolutely, absolutely.
But we're not the inspector.
The
the
geographical
key.
nature
That's the key.
of the pitch, in fact, I think those are things that they looked at, and that really matters to them.
Yeah, I
The
mean,
state of the grass, the state of all
because-
sorts of things they have,
Yeah.
what they look out for
Yeah.
that we don't see because
don't.
we're not professionals.
We're not-
We're
yeah.
not, we're
It's
not
not our
experts.
area,
It's
so
not
we
our
don't know
area.
it. Yeah.
So this is it. For us, we can just judge this thing superficially.
it's a, ooh, it looks nice.
It
and
looks
they were all
nice.
saying, wow, it
Yeah,
looks
it
really
looks
impressive. And they were all convinced that we were going to
I
get
was part of the people that said, "Oh, this one is straight approval.
Yeah,
There's
yeah,
none.
yeah,
There's
yeah,
nothing like denial."
Yeah.
You
know?
assume too much.
Absolutely.
yeah.
That
So
was the issue.
we were having the confidence that okay, fine. When they approve our stadium, now our next game is going to be played here,
November the
and
15th.
our boys are going to get that home support.
Yeah, yeah.
As you know, currently our Scorpions are on life support. You know, at some point, you know,
in terms of the qualification.
to qualify for AFCON,
Yeah.
if something is not done positively, you know, we might not even qualify for AFCON, which is very serious.
And for us, the crucial thing was the playing home games in Morocco. Yes, Morocco has a fantastic stadium, and it's got all the facilities. But you see, when you look in the stands, there probably be 150, 200 Gambians, and that's it. Now, had we come to some sort of arrangement with Senegal, you'd get 10, 20
Absolutely.
Thousands.
Absolutely.
Gambians, but that didn't come to pass. I've never worked out exactly why it is we weren't able to get approval to play our matches next door in Senegal or even Guinea-Bissau. I mean, although, no, I think their stadium also
This
was.
stadium is not
Yeah, quite. Or Mauritania, we could have used. Theirs is definitely.
Well, guys, let's try and get a new stadium. That's the best thing. I mean, we have the land. We might not have the financial muscle, I mean, to build a new stadium, but we can also look for donors as well. The way we look for donors on other things, we can, the Ministry of Youth and Sport, the Football Federation, they can put hands on deck to build us a new stadium.
Let me correct you.
sure.
The FIFA forward money, which has been sitting there since.
Oh,
2020.
it's still there?
It's still there. It's not all been used. But Mauritania used it to build their stadium. Cabo Verde used it to build their stadium. Both of those stadiums have gotten approval from CAF. Why? I'm still asking this question, as I've been asking ever since I landed in Gambia. Why did we not use FIFA forward money to build our own stadium? I thought one day somebody will answer this question, because if they can do it, they are our neighbors. They did it. Why did we not do it?
I can
Why
remember
have we
last
not done
year
it?
the Minister for Youth and Sports, Bakari, while
know.
Bajo was here, and I asked him, look, Bucks, I mean, why is it difficult for us to get a new stadium? He said a new stadium is very expensive.
Look, if you go to, look,
$200 million.
there's a video. I wish I knew we were going to have this discussion. In fact,
$200 million.
maybe we will have the same discussion tomorrow, and we can play a 2-minute video that I downloaded And what I've entitled it is, this is what Mauritania did with their FIFA money. They built a stadium. They built a restaurant. They built a football federation house with the FIFA money. They built all of that with FIFA money. Why have we not done the same?
Why have we not? Maybe.
Please.
And maybe the people responsible, they don't know the right channels to take.
And it will be interesting, sort of, what do you need to do to have access to that?
To the money. That's
because
what I
they
said,
must
the right
have,
channel.
They will certainly
At
have
some
maybe
point,
certain benchmarks. They will certainly
that
have
is the right channel.
I mean,
so,
some countries like Sierra Leone, they have so not been able to convince FIFA that the money will be accounted for, that I think 85 or 89% of the money is still sitting there, and it's been sitting there since 2016. Since 2016. Come on.
So you've got to give them a workable plan, perhaps.
That's it. You have to
where
convince
you're going to spend it. That's it. You
That's
have
it.
to pitch.
Yeah. And they've not been able to do so. Yeah.
well, let's see what will happen. I am pretty sure, I mean, the land is available. The other time they talked about the Abuko Nature Reserve and everybody complained, you know.
They could knock down the current stadium and build.
But the Abuko Nature Reserve, yes.
You know, Mr. Balder, let's take care of this one first. We'll make it work.
Let's make this
Apparently, we have another home match in March.
Yeah, that's right. That's
Can
the next
we
one.
set it as a target?
But March
That
is
in
already
March-
here.
No, March is not already
March
here.
is already here.
No,
this
but
is
for
November.
this, it's the pitch. It's the pitch
Yeah.
that is the only thing that let us down this time. They can fix the pitch between now and March, surely.
Well, I hope they do that quickly.
Yeah.
So let's take a look at another interesting story.
Anything from the point?
Yes, a very interesting story here. It reads, first black woman to lead major political party in UK.
Camille.
Yes, can you tell me?
Extraordinary.
You lived almost all your life in the UK. What can you tell us about the political space in the UK? And now here, a black woman is leading a major political party.
And that same political party, which many people had seen as kind of racist and xenophobic and so on, they've had somebody of Indian descent lead it, and now somebody whose parents are Nigerian. Her early years were spent in Nigeria, Kemi Badenoch, and she's very much to the right of the party, and I suspect one of the reasons why they've chosen her, she's very smart, she's very good at Parliament in answering questions. She always has something clever and witty to say.
Okay.
And I think they see her as somebody who will embarrass the current government. But what they seem to be forgetting is that there's a reason why they lost a landslide. They had a landslide defeat. Because they had gone too far to the right. And they thought, and she's as far to the right probably as you can get. Yes, you will appeal to the grassroots doing that, but you're not going to appeal across the board to people with that sort of attitude. And she's very much a right winger, and she made a statement the other day, why do they keep lumping all black people together as if we're all the same? We're not all the same, we all know that. But she's right in a sense. They like to kind of just put us all in a pattern. Oh, black people are this, they're that. They all come from poor families and working class. Well, not everybody does. When we should stop pretending that. And so she was kind of attacking that sort of thing, that, well, actually some of us didn't come from that background. So, yeah.
And you tell us something as well about the Tory party, well, or politics, the political dynamic in Britain. Because the Conservative Party somehow seems to be more radical when it comes to choosing its leaders.
They've had three women prime ministers. Labour hasn't had one.
At all. At all. They've had an Indian, somebody from an extraction Rishi, and now far more radical.
Yeah.
Over there, politics is more dynamic.
Yeah.
We like to reduce it to, oh, this
So
party is racist, or this party is that.
Yeah.
This easily reached out for
and even if you look at
criticisms.
the cabinet under Rishi Sunak, was more diverse in terms of background, racial background, than any Labour cabinet ever. So for all the fact that the party gets accused of being racist and so on, including when I was younger by people like me until I grew up, as you rightly say, they've been more dynamic, more radical in that sense. Labour is still struggling to have a female leader.
And
Never
isn't it
mind a
paradoxical?
female prime minister.
The Brexiteers,
Yeah.
now they've sort of chosen somebody whose parents were immigrants.
Yeah, quite. Yeah, quite.
Absolutely. Even she can, we can even call her one.
Yeah,
She was born in Nigeria and
Yeah.
then went to Britain when she was young.
Yeah, quite.
So it's just this is democracy for you, man.
And just to show you how she's the whole Partygate thing,
Brilliant,
which is what led to the downfall of Boris Johnson and his cabinet. She has already dismissed at a series of interviews she gave yesterday to the British media. She said, "Oh, these people were overreacting. It was overblown, the reaction to it." Well, actually, it wasn't, Kemi, with all due respect. You know, because the very prime minister who was telling people you can't have 2 people in the same room, you can't have 3 people in the same room, people can't have parties anymore. They were busy having parties when they were telling the rest of the country. So I'm sorry, 100% you're wrong on that. It wasn't overblown. In fact, they should have been jailed. Never mind just, lose seats.
Well, I know at this point, Hassoum Ceesay would have loved to join the conversation. I mean, at some point, this is his area as well. I mean,
of course, he's a man of the world.
Take us through the, memory lane to talk about other things. Yes, so Mr. Mamadou Mbodj, thank you very much. It's time to say bye to you, so that you can go do 1 or 2 things. I know your Africa news is waiting for you.
and we didn't even have time to talk about Usman Sonko vowing to construct a bridge and a port in Casamance to improve and facilitate trade.
Between Casamance?
In Casamance.
In Casamance.
Yes.
Oh, yeah, you see? I mean...
So that's a big story, but another day.
It's a big story, but it's important because when you look at it in Senegal, most of their produce, comes from the Casamance. Most of it comes from the Casamance region. So it will be significant to get a smooth transport, system to be able to apply the route easily.
And when they were campaigning, they did say that they would try and kind of resolve the Casamance matter. I was going to say conflict, but things are easier said than done. But I think if they improve facilities there, that might help. It might help.
You remember, wasn't that the complaint really for a very long time?
Well, that's right.
The underdevelopment.
Well, you remember there was a time Casamance wanted to request for independent.
No, they still
they wanted to be independent. But probably maybe under Sonko and Jomai Faye, probably the sleeping dog is going to...
No, they still want that independence.
But I don't think they will get independent, because they won't be that much independent to be a country of their own.
He's saying what people said about the Gambia.
Yes.
Before the Gambia came into being. Trust me, I can print you every single newspaper from Britain on the day the Gambia... and you know what all of them said? Oh, this country will be subsumed. It will be subsumed by Senegal in a Senegambian confederation. All of them said that.
But
they were 100% sure.
When you look at the geographical nature of Casamance and the Gambia, it's totally a different thing. Do you want to tell me Casamance... It's only Casamance is bigger than the Gambia.
Look, no, we're not saying that. But look at the way that the Gambia, tiny Gambia, is kind of completely embraced by Senegal.
It's not.
And yet Gambia exists
but
still
that's the whole of Senegal. But when you take Casamance as a piece, I mean, the Gambia is far bigger than Casamance.
But if you look around the world, do you know how many countries are really so small? They call them island nations, but still they're nation states. They're still nation states.
Yeah, quite.
So let's forget about size because we've seen
Samoa, which just recently hosted. Samoa's population 220,000.
Well, at some point, if Casamance gets independent, where is the rest of Dakar going to survive? I mean,
but countries
how are they going to survive?
Countries trade with each other.
That's Dakar's problem, not Casamace's problem.
Countries trade with each other, and why are we handcuffed to these colonial borders?
Exactly, that is our problem.
And that's our problem.
All these borders, 1884. But actually, all of our borders, Berlin Conference, 1884.
At this point, we'll take a break. When Hassoum is on the set, we'll ask him if Senegal can get, the Casamance can get its own independence.
No, we'll delve into the historical dictionary.
Dakar wouldn't like this kind of talk.
Yeah, quite.
You know what I mean? Even Usman Sonko, I'm not sure whether they will really appreciate this kind of talk.
Yes, because when they were campaigning, they didn't say we're going to give them independence.
No way.
They
Nobody would
just
say
said we
that.
will try and resolve this matter. But,
Yeah.
and that's kind of left it hanging.
Thank you,
there.
Mr. Mboj. Thank you very much. Thank you for reviewing the papers with us. So at this point, we'll take a short break. Then we'll engage Hassoum Ceesay on his book called The Gambia. We'll be right back.
No, his book is the book.
Time. Get 50% off all calls to any network. Enjoy calls every day to any network from 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. Is it too good to be true? QCell. We innovate, others follow. As the fastest growing GSM company in the Gambia, QCell has the widest 4G plus coverage in the country, 3 times faster internet speed than our competitors. So switch now and dial *335# and enjoy what true 4G feels like. QCell, the Gambia's trusted network. QCell, the fastest growing network in the Gambia, now presents to you the eSIM. QCell's eSIM allows you to electronically scan a code and join the world of digital SIM cards. Customers with physical SIMs can easily switch to the eSIM as well. So rush now and get connected with an eSIM and start using the latest mobile technology with your trusted GSM operator. For more information, call our customer care on 111. QCell, Sinubus. We innovate, others follow. Terms and conditions apply.
Get a QCell SIM card for free. Yes, absolutely free. Walk into any of our customer care centers and get a SIM free of charge. With a QCell SIM card, you can get the fastest and the most reliable internet plus wide range of amazing services. So rush now to any of our care centers and get a free SIM now. For more information, call our customer care on 111. QCell Sunubus. We innovate, others follow. Terms and conditions apply.
Have you been looking for the perfect indoor router with long-range Wi-Fi coverage and faster internet speed connecting all your smart devices? Well, we present to you the QCell Indoor Router, a router that has all you need and much more. For just $4,275, you can get 4G plus internet speed, wide coverage, and connect up to 15 devices. That's not all. The indoor router can be used for both office and home needs. So, enhance your internet experience with our indoor router. For more info, call our customer care on 111. QCell, Sunubus. We innovate, others follow.
We are back. You are watching QTV this morning. I am Ibrahim Masuri Balde. Now let's move to the third segment of this program. We have Hassoum Ceesay, a distinguished Gambian historian, and of course an author renowned for his work when it comes to Gambian history. Now here is a book called A Historical Dictionary of the Gambia. We are about to delve into this, and I believe it will be very interesting, as the conversation, as we get deep into the conversation.
It will indeed, and Hassoum knows that this is a love he and I share.
Indeed.
And,
history.
Indeed,
Yes,
and particularly
yes,
history
yes.
of our
He's my
sub-region.
professor.
Yes, absolutely. So you are welcome, Hassoum.
Yeah, thank you very much.
It's
Thank
good
you
to
very
have
much,
you
Mr.
here.
Balde.
Thank
Thank
you.
you, and good morning, Ade. Good
thank
morning
you.
to the listeners.
So Hassoum,
I'm
this
happy to
is
be back on this set.
it's great to have you
Yes.
here. It really is, and this is edition number 6.
Yes, yes.
So tell us about it, and how have we come to edition 6? And it seems to have grown bigger and bigger.
Indeed. Yeah, thank you very much. This was edition 2.
Look
Oh,
at that.
edition 2.
Look at the
1987.
difference.
Oh, 87.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
And now this is edition 6 by
That
David
is-
Perfect.
it's-
So it has grown bigger.
It has indeed.
I think the size tells a lot about how much Gambian historiography has also evolved over the past 30 years. Because what the historical dictionary basically is a reference, book, like an encyclopedia on Gambian dates, personalities, places, events. Okay, and I was telling Nyasi at the newsroom a few moments ago that I will tell Director Adi to buy a copy for the newsroom for reference.
True.
This year it is enlarged.
Right.
Okay, there are over 1,000 entries. Gambian personalities, and here I should say that to earn an entry here basically means that either there is a lot of interest, okay, on your career or on what you say or what you do, okay, or you are somewhat notorious.
Right. Yes.
So or maybe
it's not just the
you
good
are famous.
It's not just the good and the great.
No.
It's right. Yes.
Yeah. I mean, as we say that, just like, times, passing of the year.
Yeah, quite. Exactly. Right.
Yeah. And really, like another thing that has also happened has to do with the fact that this year we work with the author to ensure that there is a lot more information on hitherto neglected personalities.
Can you give us an example?
Yes, for example, we put in Musangom.
Okay.
The late Musangom has an entry.
Right.
Ifang Bondi.
Okay.
Has an entry. Pap Story. The Gambian music, star.
Usunjai Senior.
Yes, Usunjai Senior also has an entry. Babakar Gay, the journalist, also has an entry.
Okay.
Because the previous editions, I used to criticize the dictionary because I believe it put too much emphasis on the politicians.
Big mistake.
Yeah, I have always complained about that.
Yeah.
So as we work on it for the past 3 years, we have managed to even put in Biri Biri.
Okay.
The football
Biri.
star. Yes.
Yeah.
So we have really tried very much to sort of go social. Cultural figures. Figures in sports. Figures in business.
What about religion?
The politicians will always be there.
Do we have our religious leaders as well?
Yes. We have all the major religious leaders from Alhaji Sir Omar Faye, Alhaji Usman Jeng, the Imam Ratib, Imam Charnoka, Imam Abdullah Job, Imam Fati. So we've also done a lot of work.
Interesting.
To also, our pastors, like the Archbishop.
Right.
The Catholic Bishop is there. The Bishop Emeritus, Odiko.
Okay.
Yeah. So we've also done a lot of work on that.
Okay.
Interesting.
Yes.
And I am pretty sure Mom say and the whole family will be happy. That's the daughter of Musa Ngom.
Well,
yes.
and is it segmented into things like sport, religion, politics? How is it, or is it just an alphabetical list?
It is in alphabetical order. From A, I think the first entry should be in the Gambia. A. Well, in fact, it's a British man, Reverend George Adcock.
Okay.
To Z.
Okay.
To Z.
From A to Z.
Yundum Teachers Training College.
Oh.
Okay. Wow.
Okay.
So
That's interesting. So
Yeah.
I would like to know why did you use a dictionary format to portray Gambian history?
Well, one, to make it accessible, because it is, in a reference format.
Yeah.
You wanted to research Imam Ratib, Alhaji Abdullah Job. You get to, you simply open the page on Job, and there's an entry.
Yeah.
You want to research, His Excellency President Adama Barrow. You go to BARROW.
Oh, okay.
it is there.
Yeah.
So that's how it is easily accessible. And also you have to remember something that has also been added this year has to do with all the election results in the Gambia.
Since independence.
From 1947.
Oh, it's even further back.
From 47 to 2021.
Wow.
And also...
And that's a fantastic research.
And also the results of the various referenda.
Right.
Yeah, from 65 to 1996.
Right.
And also there is a lot of emphasis on dates. And the dates are current up to August 2024. Fantastic. From 1000 BC to August 2024. All the major dates in Gambian history is also in the...
How do you determine the entries? I mean, to...
A very good question. A very good question. I had started discussing that at the beginning. Basically, we look at people who make the headlines, for good or bad. You have to stress that. Two, people who researchers always, check for material on their careers, on their lives, and so on. And number three, like I said, people whom we believe are ordinarily forgotten in the historical narrative.
Sure.
Because there's always an overemphasis, on the political leaders.
Political tends to dominate when it comes to these things.
So those are some of the criteria. And of course, we live in an age of Google. So sometimes, if you have a Google entry, you stand a better chance of getting a mention in the dictionary than somebody who hasn't yet gotten like a Google entry.
What are some of the most surprising and interesting, findings, during your research to put on this book?
The most interesting finding is that, on the whole, there is a lot of material written about the Gambia out there. From anatomy to zoology. Academic articles, books, PhD dissertations, theses. A lot of it. Except that most of these are buried in libraries, in London or at Oxford or at Cambridge.
Yeah, true.
They're the first thing we found out. That in fact, a lot of the knowledge, cornucopia of this country exists. Because people tell me it doesn't exist. I want to research outside but there's no material. Well, there is a lot of material.
I presume you've visited the National Archives at Kew.
Yes,
more than
I did.
once.
I did on 2 occasions.
That place, for anybody from the former colonies, you'll be astonished at the amount of information that they have about our countries. It's just staggering. And
because during the decolonization, as the British were departing, they carried along a lot of files. These were files they thought were sensitive, too sensitive.
That's right.
To leave behind for the for the post-independence government to inherit.
Right.
So now as we speak, myself and other interested persons and the Gambian National Archives administration are working on getting they call them migrated files back to the Gambia, so that researchers, our university students and media people like you will have access to this. Documents.
And some of them are really important. I remember because I did some research on the Sierra Leone stuff. So a lot of stuff that was marked secret, top secret, has now been declassified because of the length of time since. So, for example, when Lightfoot Boston, the former Governor General,
Sir Henry
Lightfoot Boston, when he went to London and he wrote letters saying that I've been deposed due to the coup d'etat, I'm living in London, I have no money, can you send me some money? That letter I was able to find and circulate it. It had been classified as secret before, Well, now, of course. So things like that.
Yeah, I'll digress.
You can
I'll
find.
digress a bit,
Yes,
with your
yes.
permission.
Yes.
You know, of late, I was at the FBC library
Okay.
like a few weeks ago.
Right,
So of
right.
late, I have gotten interested on that period.
Oh,
So, you know,
really?
history.
Oh, well, we should talk.
You know, on Colonel Justin Smith and
Jackson
his,
Smith,
you know,
yeah, yeah.
short-lived,
Got
you know,
lots of
regime.
stuff on Jackson Smith,
Yes,
and in fact,
and-
an American movie company have done a film about Jackson Smith.
Oh,
A
have they?
documentary.
Okay.
Yes, I'll
Okay.
put you in touch with the
Yes,
director.
Yes, yes,
Yes, yes.
yes.
Yeah, yeah.
So,
Interesting.
you know, so basically, you know, coming back to the book,
Mm-mm.
it's really, you know, like an added value
Mhm, mhm.
to the material that already exists on Gambian history.
Sure.
It's a quick reference guide, and we should really encourage, first of all, all the newsrooms.
I
should
think,
have
I
a
think,
copy.
I think
Mhm.
almost,
True.
And
almost
of course
goes
the
without
libraries.
saying. Almost goes
because
without
it is
saying.
very, very dependable.
Yeah.
I mean, if you know the current political leaders have entries, most of them have entries.
Mhm.
The past political leaders have entries,
Sure.
like their dates of birth, you know, their educational career. And things like that are already available. And also
yes.
something that also controversial. You're asking me about that. We still have to maintain a lot of entries on the British, you know, colonial
Period.
you know, period.
Yeah.
You know, be the you know, I mean, heads of the churches,
Mhm.
you know, the traveling commissioners, you know, the commissioners.
Mm.
There's a full list of all the British
And
governors.
all these people who have streets in Banjul named after them.
Ingram
You
and,
know,
and,
yeah,
and
correct.
Wellesley
Yeah.
and you know, like Perseverance.
It's part of
you
the
know,
history.
they're all here.
They're part
you
of our
know,
history.
yeah,
We can't.
Yeah. I mean, we
pretend
have
otherwise.
tried,
Yeah.
you know, but I think it's important that that aspect of our history is also maintained. You know, because it's part of our history.
Absolutely,
You know, however
absolutely.
much we believe
Well,
it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, that must be part of it. So
Yeah.
what are some of the challenges you faced when you were compiling this dictionary?
Well, like I said, you know, the paucity of materials.
Right.
Okay, but that we were able to overcome because the author, I mean, Dr. Perfect,
Mhm.
you know, is a historian of great repute on the Gambia. He's a labor historian, like on labor history of the
Yes,
Gambia.
correct.
He lives in the UK, so I have access to all the materials. Now, there are people in the dictionary who there's very little information of you know, them in the archives.
Right.
So some of them we call them, you know, like confirming their dates of birth. You know, send them like WhatsApp messages.
Right.
You know, emails. You know, because really our idea was that as historians here, we should do our level best to make sure that what comes out is as faithful, you know, to the truth as possible.
Yeah.
True.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I'm
because
glad you
the
mentioned
previous
that, and I'll
edition
tell you
had-
why.
Yeah.
Yes, in
Yeah.
a minute. Yes, yes.
Yes.
And the reason I say this is because for a lot of people, when they want to look up certain people, they'll go on Wikipedia. And I came across this when we were doing something on Sierra Leone, and we found a Wikipedia entry that they were going to use. And I said, don't use it.
Yeah.
I said, I happen to know that this is written by the person's son. and it contained a whole bunch of lies, essentially, about his father.
Yeah.
Attributed things to him that were simply not true, factually incorrect, and I was able to prove that.
Yeah.
And so don't trust. Something like this has gone through much more
Oh,
rigorous
yes. Oh, yes.
scrutiny
Oh, yes. Oh,
than many Wikipedia pages.
In fact, the book should have come out in August.
Right.
But because of the peer review process, you know,
So,
I mean,
yeah.
all the question marks and the red ink
yeah,
you know.
yeah, quite.
on
So,
the
yeah.
on the drafts.
Yeah,
you
so
know,
where
it-
can
it-
people
it
get
only
hold
came
of?
out in
Where
in
if people
November.
want a copy, where can they get hold of?
Well,
copies?
I mean, for now, it'll be at Timbuktu.
Okay.
But for somebody like you, you know, who has roots in England, you know, I'm sure. I mean, by next week it should be available,
Yeah.
you know, on Amazon and
Right,
other
right,
other.
And how much is it costing, Hassan?
Well, the price is not yet out.
Oh,
like I
the
said,
price,
this
Is
copy
it okay?
hot off the press.
Whoa,
Okay,
okay.
but I'm sorry, in the next, few days,
Sure. Okay.
the price will be available.
Okay, let's talk about how does the dictionary contribute to the understanding of Gambian culture and identity. And of course, we also have, you know, the diverse views of Gambians as well. How does this book represent that?
Well, a history is both narrative and interpretive.
Yeah, correct.
The narrative usually is fixed You know, it is in interpretation that we differ.
Yeah.
I mean, if you are Marxian,
exactly.
or like a capitalist, or like a feminist, I mean, that's how you interpret the history.
Sure.
But I'll give you an example. For example, there's an entry on page 266 on the Independent, Electoral Commission. Okay, established in April 1997. Okay, now. But before that, you had what was called the Provisional Independent Electoral Commission, the PIEC.
Yeah, right.
That, in fact, was established in 1996.
Right.
So these are some of the nuances that this book can help,
Right.
to take care of. Okay, because IEC came after the promulgation of the 1997 Constitution.
Yeah, sure.
But before IEC, you had something called PIEC. Okay, and that was from the summer of 96 and so on. Now another example, the Ministry of Information. There's an entry on page 267. How did this ministry evolve from the early 1970s up to March 2024 when Dr. Ismail Assise was appointed?
Right. Okay.
And we have a list of all the ministers
Right. Okay.
who ever occupied.
Right. And what was it?
position.
Was it always just called the Ministry of Information? I guess it's changed names.
It has changed several times. Minister of Information, Broadcasting,
and Broadcasting,
later
exactly.
Minister of Information and Tourism.
Yeah. Yeah.
Later it was the responsibility of a Minister of State in the Office of the President.
Right.
Later it was called Minister of Information and Works, Minister of Information and Communications, and so on.
Yeah, correct.
So these are some of the very, very important details that are found in the dictionary.
And you were
like
asking
Ingram Street, you are talking about the streets.
Streets names.
Ingram Street.
Yes,
in Banjul, Ingram, Ingram, named after Alexander Ingram, born 1816, died 1849. You see, so that most of the street names in Banjul, how they, all whom they were named for, are also, mentioned.
Definitely.
Like relations with Iran.
Right.
We have an entry.
Right.
And because in July 2024, the Gambia re-established in diplomatic ties.
Do we have relations with Taiwan in there?
Yes.
I guess it must be in there as well.
Yes, with Taiwan, with Israel.
Yeah.
With all what is happening,
Yeah.
in Gaza.
Yeah.
On page 272, so if you are a student of diplomacy or a student of international relations, we have an entry on the speaker, Alhaji Sa'ali Suleiman Jack.
Yes,
the first speaker.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
Under the PPP. So these are the kind of information we have in the book.
Yeah, quite.
Yes.
Because Ibrahim was asking about how is the culture represented. I guess by the fact that
I would be most pleased to answer that.
So let me say something like Kankurang, for example.
Yes, Kankurang. Kumpo. Gambia National Museum.
Right. Hunting
uh,
Society. I hope Hunting Society is there.
Hunting. Hunting. National Center for Arts and Culture.
Yes.
So there is, and of course our musicians.
Yes.
Like Jeliya Masuso is there.
Right.
Fode Musa Suso.
Is Sona Jobate
He's there? Of course Sona is there.
Jaliba must be there.
Jaliba Kwete is there.
Must be there.
I must tell you, I must approve to my good friend Mr. Adi that Sona is there. So let's go for J. H-I-J.
J for Jobate.
H-I-J. Sona, H-I-J-K-L.
Otherwise I won't buy a copy.
J. I'm looking for J.
Okay, you take this whole name.
Yes, of course.
Yeah, J-O, Jobate, J-O-R.
No. You don't go with the first name.
Okay.
The surname.
Okay.
Yeah, J-O-R.
So all the Baldes will be on the B.
On the B. Okay.
Yes,
Yeah.
because you can't start jumping back and forth between.
Yeah.
If you wanted to find this Balde, you go with his first name.
Well,
it's
Hassan,
always
this
the
book
surname.
is interesting.
Indeed.
Yes.
Yeah.
It
Yeah,
will
so
make
the
it easy
Jobates.
for searching.
Yes.
So the Jobates, Amadou Bansang, the Sona's grandfather, is there.
Granddad, of course, yeah.
Tata Ndiding,
Yeah,
the late Tata Ndiding,
Tata Dinding
is
Jobate.
there.
Yeah,
Page 309.
Uh-huh.
Our good friend, Sona is there,
Okay.
page 312, Sona Jobati.
Oh, there you are.
1983, born in London on 17 October 1983.
Wow.
Of a Mandinka father and English mother. That's.
Yes.
You know, Pa Bobo is there,
Bobo Jobati.
our good friend.
Okay, yeah.
You know, Baba Job, the late Baba Job. You know, so this. I mean, we have done a lot this time around to make sure that, you know, cultural.
That's why
you
the
know,
book
figures.
is bulky.
That's why it's so thick.
Yeah, but
compared
To make sure that cultural figures are well mentioned.
second edition.
Yeah, compared to the second edition, which was quite a
slim volume.
A slim volume.
Yeah.
You know, and remember, Mr. Balde, all the countries are competing.
And hold up this one
Because-
so that we can get a close up.
Yes,
please,
because like for Sierra Leone,
and then sideways so they can get the thickness of it.
Yeah,
Uh-huh.
yeah.
Please,
My late professor, you know,
Yes.
CP Fore,
Uh-huh.
did the historical dictionary for Sierra Leone.
And that was very slim.
Very slim.
And
Of
I
late,
have a copy.
another professor of mine, Magbele File,
Okay, I know
did
Magbele.
in latest edition.
Right.
But for the Gambia, I think so far we are the only country to have had 6 editions
Yes.
of the historical dictionary.
Right.
I mean, Senegal is still at number 3. It looks like they are finding it difficult to get somebody to do it for for Senegal. Sierra Leone is the last one came out in 2005.
Okay.
You know, so it is really it's completely out of date.
Of course, yes. I have a first
yes.
edition.
Senegal, the last one came out in 1994.
Wow.
So it's like 30 years.
Yes. In fact, the Sierra Leone one is
Yeah.
slimmer than even this.
Yeah.
The CP4 is first one.
Yes.
It's even slimmer than
So I mean, this is really a gift
Yeah.
to all those interested
Sure.
in knowledge about the Gambia. And it is not only about history. There's agriculture. There's medicine. I mean, botany. Prehistory. Music.
Right.
And also there is a very, very extensive reference section so that all the latest academic papers published
Right.
on the Gambia, either by Gambians or by non-Gambians.
Okay.
And you'll be surprised how Gambian scholarship is growing very, very fast. I mean, the amount of Gambian PhD thesis here.
Yes.
I mean, even myself, I didn't know it. It was
I'd
so
be
like,
interested in that because
and Gambians, publishing
yeah.
in leading academic journals. Also I found that very refreshing.
Yeah,
that
that's
the
good.
knowledge about our country is growing.
Yeah.
So really, people should start. Should stop saying Gambians don't write. The Gambians are writing.
They are.
Yeah.
Are they reading?
Gambians,
Well, I wanted to ask you that.
Gambians are writers. I mean, we've invited a lot of Gambians here that are writers.
Yeah.
The likes of Professor Yaya Silla.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah,
he's also a very good writer.
Yeah.
So, I mean, Gambians are writing, Mr.
Yeah.
Ade.
I don't know.
Mr. Ade, for example, I just came
discovered
across this. There's a PhD dissertation presented at the University of Toronto in 2011 by Bakari Jiba, titled "The West Indian Mission to West Africa, the Rio Pongas Mission, 1850-1863."
Oh wow! Okay.
That is a very, very good study of Christianity in the Gambia. So all this material can be seen in the book. And there is sort of our friend, Professor Marius Jansin at SOAS,
Okay. Yes.
has done a lot of work on the masala, the people we call masala.
Yes,
There's this article mentioned here, roaming about for God's sake,
Right.
the upsurge of the Tabligh Jamaat Mashallah in the Gambia,
Right.
published in the Journal of Religion in Africa, 35, volume 35,
Yeah,
number
yeah.
4.
Wow.
So there's a lot of material on that, on climate change and sustainability.
Okay.
A lot
And
of articles on
I
that.
can tell you it's going to be even bigger
Yeah.
next volume because
Yeah.
the Ministry of Agriculture have come across, I think, over 1,000 theses and dissertations on agriculture that they're trying to digitize
Very good.
in the Gambia. I know because I became involved in the project, and that's just in the last 2 or
Very
3
good.
months I'm talking about. So
Very
yeah,
good.
Yeah, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah,
wow.
there's a lot of stuff that
Yes.
because it's not being digitized, people don't seem to know that it's,
Exactly.
it's
That
there.
it exists. That's it.
But it's there.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, topics you think are as mundane as rainfall. You know, I saw. I mean, like a lot of
articles and theses.
you know, academic articles on,
Yeah.
on rainfall pattern in the Gambia.
Wow.
You know, I said this is, and of course the autobiographies. You know,
Of
Salaudas.
Yes, yes.
I mean, Justice Hassan Jallos. You know, Lamin Sane. You know, so really it is.
The book
it is
seems to
very-
touch a lot of areas, a
yes,
lot of
yes,
people. Huh?
yes,
I think they've covered
yes,
a lot.
yes,
a
I mean,
Mr.
lot.
Ade, the only person that is not on that book is me.
Don't-
Hashim, I should be
There's
there.
next time. There's always next time. But I mean, it's really wide ranging. And you know, sometimes we have an author come on here, and their book has been reviewed, and you will hear the reviewer in the newspaper saying, "This is a must read" or "It's a must buy." This one
It's
definitely
definitely.
falls into that
But in
category.
fact,
Thank you so very
I am in
I
fact
mean,
thinking of
This
getting
is,
it.
you know,
Yeah.
I mean,
Thank
for
you so
somebody
very
like
much.
me, this is
Yeah,
like,
and Mr. Adi,
I've been
finally
dying.
on this,
yes.
even on this pathway, on the migration.
Oh, of course.
Apparently,
Yes,
there
yes,
are so
yes.
many professors, particularly in Italy and in Spain,
Spain, of
who
course.
have just started building careers on studying, you know, Gambian,
This is
you know,
it.
migration.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, our friend, I mean, Dr. Paulo Gabasi,
Mm.
who is now at the University of Bayreuth,
Right, right, right.
you know, has a
Right.
very, very, you know, long list.
Wow.
You know,
Okay.
of journal articles and even a PhD dissertation entitled
I-
Migration, Salahule Young Men and the Dynamics of Staying Behind
Wow.
the Gambia. PhD dissertation, University of Milan, Bicocca.
Wow.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Yeah. So,
Is there, I mean, we have a kind of nascent film industry.
yes.
Is that reflected
Yes,
at all?
yes,
Okay, right,
yes,
right, okay.
yes, Ibu Woge and,
Okay,
and,
okay.
and the work
Okay.
he has
People
done.
like
But
Babu?
also something we have not forgotten
Yes.
is the role of the independent media.
Mm,
I
okay.
mean, like
QTV.
QTV,
you're almost there.
and of
I'm
course also
almost.
the press.
Yes,
You know,
yes,
in
yes.
introduction, there's a very long
Okay.
you know, article on that.
Okay.
You know, how the Gambian media landscape
Has
has
evolved.
also been revolutionized by investments like this.
Wow.
Yeah.
I
So,
can't, I
so
can't,
that's make
I
you
can't
even,
wait
even,
to.
even readier to buy
abs-
as many copies as possible.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so, I mean, anything final before we close the segment, Hazum?
Well, I did ask, warn you not to ask me, but I'll just comment on it.
The Casamance
on the
matter.
Casamance.
Yes.
Yes.
Really, they no longer have the burning, you know, if you like the casus belli
Urge
to
break away.
to break away from Senegal.
Mm.
I mean, Senegal should remain a united, indivisible country. And I think over the years, a lot has been done to sort of allay or to appease Casamance.
Yeah.
Because their grievances were, one, they were completely cut off from the rest of their country.
That's right.
The breach at Soma has solved that problem.
Yeah, go ahead.
You know, thank God.
Go ahead.
Okay?
Yes.
And now it is possible to travel,
And
you know,
yeah.
to Dakar or from Dakar to Casamance at any time of the day.
of course.
That was a major grievance that has been solved. Two, you know, political marginalization.
Yeah. Yes.
They felt that they were politically marginalized. That also has been solved.
Absolutely.
Because
we've
now they
seen
have a
that.
prime minister.
Yes.
Quite.
He's the
Exactly.
prime minister of a whole republic.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know?
Yeah. Go ahead.
So and number three, access to education.
Yes. Yes.
You know, the university, you know, I mean, as an sec in Ziganshore,
Yes.
you know, it's like in its, I mean, 10th year. You know, and really, a colleague of mine there told me that it is emerging as one of the best universities in Senegal.
Really? Oh, wow.
And maybe just next to the one in Saint Louis.
Wow.
Yes,
Wow.
you know, in terms of cutting edge research and the high caliber of professors that the Ziganshore University
That's, I'm
is able
surprised. Wow.
to you know, to
Yeah,
attract.
yeah.
So I think increasingly the concerns of Casamance have been met, and I know under this government, you know, of His Excellency, I mean, Faye, and his Prime Minister, I mean, there'll be even a lot more, you know, goodies, if
Yeah,
you like,
right. Yes, yes.
you know, in store for
And
Casamance.
I think also because the oil wealth.
As a Pan-Africanist,
Yes.
we should really,
Yes.
I mean, abhor this issue of balkanization.
Yeah, quite.
You
Yes,
know, let
yes,
us-
yes.
let-
Kind of breaking away.
Yeah,
of-
you know, this kind of breaking.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
why I was
quite.
not happy that South Sudan became independent.
Yeah, quite.
You see, I mean, Africa should remain united. I mean, but I mean, if we start, you know, chopping, you know, pieces of our these small countries,
Yeah.
they become weaker.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah,
and
of course.
Africa will become weaker, and that will only benefit, you know, our detractors. So this, you know, irredentist, separatist, inclinations, I think it should be discouraged at all costs. You know, so that we remain, you know, strong, you know, and united, so that we'll have a stronger voice in the international community.
True.
That is my personal
Thank you.
take.
Thank you, Hasum. And I hope
And most welcome.
I hope you're going to get that book, Mr. Ade.
Well, the boss man is
I
here.
think- I
I
think-
will order it.
For the
I
news
think
team.
there's no argument even for on a personal
He'll
level.
order it.
will
Because
get
I
it,
know
so-
the way you love history. I mean, Mr.
Exactly.
Ade, it's
I bet you
Yes.
in the next 3 weeks,
Yes, yes.
if you go to his home library,
Yes,
and you
I'll
this
find the book there. Yes, yes,
Exactly.
yes.
and then you can pitch
I
it,
think that you can
interested.
guarantee.
and then don't return it again.
Honestly, I'm interested. Honestly,
I
this
would
book
never,
looks
I would
good.
never lend it to a charlatan like him.
Thank you very much, Hasum, for
Thank you, it's my
coming.
pleasure.
Mr. Ade, thank you
It's my
very much.
pleasure.
And, you know, we appreciate the time you've given us,
It's my
despite your
pleasure.
busy schedule.
Yeah.
That's why we are wondering if Hasum would be here.
No,
or
like
not.
it's history. as long as it's history, I will come.
Yeah,
All right,
Yes.
so thank you very much.
Yeah.
Viewers, this is all we have for you. Enjoy the rest of our programs. Have a wonderful day.
And
Bye-bye.
join us for program 500 tomorrow.
Oh!
Edition 500
You
of
are
this
right.
program.
Edition 500 tomorrow.
We'll have to make it
It
special.
should be special.
We'll have to
Yes,
make
so
it special.
bye-bye.
Okay.